It is the Mosley Show, live from the Rogue Media Studios.
That's right. And it is Hoosier Day.
Oh, man. I mean, you deserve all of this.
It has been a year.
Our resident Hoosier, a proud graduate of Indiana University, not ever the University of, as Jane Pauley said, famous graduate, in a little piece I saw yesterday. Kev, congratulations. I was excited for you. Everything I needed to have happened. I predicted the Canes to cover and Indiana to win. Both of those things happened, and the Indiana Hoosiers win 27-21, and the impossible has happened. Indiana is a national champion in football, which is just, for those of us that have been around a little while, it's still crazy. And I love those shots of Assembly Hall, which for people that didn't grow up in all this, is where Indiana plays basketball. And the place was packed. I think it was free, but you had to get there really early to get a good seat. I don't know what a good seat is when you're just looking up at a jumbotron. But they were watching the football game in a packed arena during basketball season. They're in the middle of, conference basketball. I feel bad for whoever they hired. I know they hired the guy from West Virginia, and hopefully he'll do fine. He has a son who's a really good player, nice guy. But it's all about football. And even Signetti said it last night. He's like, it's football. It's football. This is a football school. And he pulled it off. It's – if you're going to go for history, you need to stick the landing. And he stuck the landing. And the great thing about it is, I think it was even more fun. Just check. Okay. Well, now I'm kind of hearing myself.
I know. Now we've got a double thing going on.
What we don't want, and yes, I don't want this echo throughout the show, but I also don't want to be muted. And I saw Mike is muted. That might have been your mic, but we need to double check and make sure, see what our people are hearing out there.
Yeah. Keep going on. I'm going to duck out and see what I can hear out there.
Go duck out, take your phone with you, and also know that the way it's going right now, this echo will destroy me. It'll be the death of me. And I will run out of here screaming at some point. So hopefully you hear me fine. Then we need to check it with that muted sign, because that actually is better. Okay. And not only do I hear an echo, but I hear like complete sentences in echo. So double check that. Kevin's out there looking at this as we speak. So we'll get this taken care of. Kev's usually at his home studio. So right now he's working frantically to make sure we have all this right. And Kev, if we need to, Mike has entered the building.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Always.
Called in the big guns.
When you bring Mike in, something has gone wrong. But he's always able to figure things out. So Mike, when I was first going today, there was a sign on the deal that said Mike is muted, and obviously now we have the major echo occurring. We will continue to work on this. We do things from Rogue Media Network.
You still getting a double?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with your headphones?
Mm-hmm. I guess I could
Yeah.
take them off. It is no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not hearing anything.
I got you.
Oh, okay. Mic is working. Okay. Maybe so I don't get an echo. I'll just take these off for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody out there, I hope you hear me fine. I hope probably the issue was just only in my ear. So hopefully it wasn't out there. YouTube, thank you. Hello, YouTube audience. Now, I am going to have to put these, Mikey, before you, okay, there he goes. I am going to have to wear these to interview Nicki Collen coming up. So anyway, I'll play through whatever's going on. But great to be with you today. And we're going to keep you up to date on the latest NFL as well. We got Nicki Collen coming up at 1:30, Baylor women's basketball coach. And we had today John Harbaugh, it was announced as the Giants head coach. And so you had that going on. And so we have audio of that whole scene. We know we have the opening now in Buffalo because Sean McDermott is out. That's happened since we last. Well, no, that had actually happened before we talked yesterday. And then teams continue to close in on these hirings. The latest one, the Tennessee Titans hired Robert Saleh. He came in from the 49ers where he was defensive coordinator, and the Titans have hired him as their new head coach. And then the issue with this is as the hires happen, then they decide, hey, here's who I want to interview for my defensive coordinator. Well, a lot of those, there's crossover right now because the Cowboys are trying to hire a defensive coordinator. And so, some of the ones they've talked to, Cowboys have already interviewed 9 defensive coordinators. Now, let's stick with, until we get to Nicki, let's stick with Indiana for now. And that's what Kevin's the most excited about as we come to you today live from our Rogue Studios. Last night, as expected, Indiana, really the fans took over that stadium. I would say it was 60% Indiana, maybe 40 Miami. It might have been 30 Miami and then like a bunch of corporate types, like 10% just corporate people in sport coats sitting around, just hanging out, taking up space. But it was a remarkable evening. And the thing I'm happy about too is, like I said earlier, they were pushed. At halftime, even though it had been hard fought, and Miami was taking shots at Fernando, and Signetti was not happy about it, and he let it be known on the halftime interview that they had 3 personal fouls in his estimation on Fernando. They were trying to send a message. And even when he carried out a fake, they were going to the chin. They were going to the body. They were making him pay. And he was beaten and he was bruised and battered at the end of the game. Now, the great thing, and I'm sure Indiana fans didn't appreciate this, but most of us did, is that Miami came out in the second half and made that a ball game. And Mark Fletcher Jr., I mean, that was an interesting – they just blocked up on a – I mean, it's really amazing when you just see a pitch to the right, and you don't see this very often. There he is. There he is, the great Mark Fletcher Jr. They have another great number 4 on defense, and that's Ruben Bain. But – on that running play, Kevin Hoosier Hall in here, an actual Indiana graduate. It was just a pitch to the right, and it was very uncharacteristic of Indiana. You had number 46, who's a pretty good cover man, has to kind of play a nickel, almost like a safety hybrid, but he also kind of lines up sometimes as an outside, like an edge type rusher. He broke contain. They kind of blocked him out of that play. And then your really good safety, number 1, takes a bad angle, comes up inside, and Fletcher's able to get to the outside and just takes it to the house. And so you got about a 55-yard score, and here comes the Hurricanes. Now, so what happened in that second half, the first half was just completely dominated by Indiana. Second half, Indiana kept responding and kept you thinking, okay, they're going to pull away. They got a 17-7 lead. One point they had a 24-14 lead. It did not matter. The Hurricanes kept coming, and that's what made that game so much fun, and that's why it ended up having one of the most iconic moments in college football history, one of the great plays that we've ever seen. And, of course, it was Fernando Mendoza, and I got to say, I was kind of questioning what they were doing down there. Me too. And Kevin apparently was too. And there's the still photo of him diving into the end zone. But you call a timeout. You're trying to decide what to do on 4th and 5. You got the field goal, pretty short field goal that's going to put you up 20-14 and at least make them score a touchdown. And they decide to go for it. And the way Fernando told that story, it was kind of funny after the game. He said he was told to throw the ball if they were in man coverage and to run the ball if they were in zone. And he said they kind of lined up in both. It was like some kind of hybrid of zone and man. It sounds like the old Indianapolis defensive coordinator who became the Cowboys defensive coordinator. Who just confused everyone. Eberflus, right? Wait, what's he lining up in? Is this a zone? Is this man? What's he doing? And so Fernando kind of laughed about it later and just said he decided to just go with the run play, trust the quarterback draw, and hope they got it blocked up. They did. Now,
you want to hear, this is Pat McAfee on the call here. On that run.
Normally, I would not really want to hear a Pat McAfee. I mean, is there any cussing? Should we warn our audience?
No. Here you go.
All right. Pat McAfee, who was down on the field with his crew, and I do the Manning cast. I don't do the McAfee cast. I do love the coaches cast where they're breaking down each play. But last night I didn't dabble in it because they didn't have any current coaches. The only one I was interested in hearing from would have been Mike Gundy. And I heard he was good. But it was a bunch of fired coaches. Okay, here's McAfee on the play that they decided to go for it. I thought they probably should have kicked the field goal.
Oh.
They go for it, and it is a play for the ages.
I was the same way. We were sitting there going, Signetti, what are you doing? what is happening? But
first of all, if they had fallen behind, they were burning timeouts like crazy.
I know.
Both those teams were completely, other than Indiana, who finally called a timeout to slow things down on that fateful drive. Miami's trying to go down there and score to win. I do not know what Miami was doing there. Beck, who played really well for most of that game, oh, that was bad. All right, let's see the play.
Here's the play.
Yeah. To me, this had Vince Young sort of, it wasn't, the stakes weren't quite as high as when Vince did it against USC because, of course, that was late in the fourth quarter, late in the game. But the stakes were pretty high because it's fourth quarter, it's 4th and 5, and if they don't get it, boy, Miami has all the momentum.
Right. Yeah, here you go.
Fernando keeps it himself. I'm going to run. Mendoza! Mendoza! Touchdown! Fernando!
Right. So he takes a huge shot from, I'm trying to see who hit him. Somebody hit 33. Like I think it was Messidor that came through there. One of their linebackers or one of their edge players, I'm not sure, put a shot on him, and he somehow stays on his feet. It's almost like he ran into, somehow he took such a shot, it like kept him up, and then when he smells the goal, the thing about this kid that's so different from other people, and hey, Beck is tough too. Beck took some shots and stayed in that game. He had one shot late where you're on that late hit from Indiana. They drove, that guy, and just crushed him back there, and they called it. They called the late hit. And Beck, I thought they should have checked him for a concussion. I couldn't tell if his helmet truly hit the field, but he had trouble getting up. And that sucker stayed right in there and kept playing. But I'll tell you, during this run, and even going back to the Ohio State game, when they rocked him, talking about the Big Ten championship, when they rocked him on like one of the first series of the game, they came in and just killed him. Like, I know he's kind of big. Fernando's taller and bigger than he seems because he's kind of nerdy, and he's funny, and he's brilliant, and all these things. And so I don't think of him as being a big, powerful dude. He looks to me a little vulnerable, but the sucker takes every shot in the world, and he keeps coming back. And I don't know that we've ever seen – this is the coolest coach-quarterback combination I've seen in many, many years. I'm trying to think of like some good ones in recent years that you go, oh, man, that was cool. Like Dabo and Deshaun Watson, you could say. It was before Deshaun, we turned into a creep. But it was, we thought Deshaun Watson at that point was a really cool, interesting story. And that was a cool combination. Saban obviously had some great quarterbacks over the years. Urban with both Tebow and then later with Ohio State had some great. But the thing I like about this combination, Kev, is that like they're just in lockstep. In fact, I think Fernando, who's not someone who cusses, especially publicly, he let something slip after the game, and Signetti joked that he's rubbing off on Fernando. I think that's what's so cool about the story is just that he does. And then after the game, I thought that was the moment. Fernando's not cocky. He's not an arrogant guy, but for a moment, he let down his guard and he said, we did it against the school that would not even give me a walk-on opportunity. Whoa. That was a moment. The only downside to the Mendoza, the magical story that is the Mendoza story, which is his mom has MS. I love the family up there because the dad will occasionally stand up just to try to see what's going on, but then he'll sit right back down and celebrate with the mom because she's confined to a wheelchair. What a story. She was a college athlete. The dad was a college athlete. He was in crew, which is rowing, I believe, at Miami. He and Mario Cristobal, the Miami coach, went to high school together right down the road from where they were playing last night. There were just so many cool stories. And like even some of the Miami support staff, I can't remember if it was the strength coach or who they were interviewing the other day, and that guy had known Mario Cristobal forever. So this is an amazing story that we're watching, and it did make me start thinking of, first of all, is this the greatest coaching job in the history of sports? Like looking at even other sports, looking at, for instance, Jimmy Leland when he was at with the Marlins, okay, and he had great moments with the Pirates, and then he would later have a run with Detroit. But like I did in another place, some of my research, it was helpful because the Ringer did a story like this, because I've just been thinking, I've just been thinking to myself, how do you compare this? Who has ever done anything like this? Take a sad, nothing program for the better part of a century and turn it into a national powerhouse, okay? Because this wasn't a fluke. Oh, Indiana's won it this one time. They'll never win it again. Somebody tried to make that point about Baylor basketball, and I said, well, wait. They had like 3 straight years of being a number 1 seed, okay, Baylor men's basketball. So there was nothing really fluky about what happened in 2021. They're in a bad spot right now, and I'll be here tonight to watch them play Tech and try to turn this thing around. Okay, we will soon have joining us Coach Nicki Collen, the Baylor women's basketball coach. She joins us next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
It's time to start something new at Allen Samuels. Drive in with huge savings on all of our Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. From a trail-conquering Jeep Grand Cherokee, towing in style with a Ram Heavy Duty, or cruising the city in a sporty and luxurious Ram 1500, we've got the perfect ride for you. Stop by Allen Samuels in Waco, where we make car buying easy.
Come by, let's be friends.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
It is the Matt Mosley show. As I put these down, we're going to have Nicki Collen joining us momentarily, and anxious to talk to her. It's been a while, and I'm texting her as we speak, and she'll get connected, and we'll get her rolling here on the Mosley Show live in studio today. I am in town. I love when I get a notice that Nicki has entered. She's entered the realm, the Mosley Show, and we'll she's in queue. And can I call her in, Kev? All right, let's call her right in. Oh, okay.
Hey, here I am.
Okay, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. Good to see you.
It's been a little too long, and I've been excited watching you, and this has been remarkable to kind of watch what you went through, the comeback. There's been a lot going on, but first I have to say, you having a Purdue association.
Okay, where are we going with this? I'm not ready. Am I ready?
Yeah, you'll be fine. What this Indiana thing is are you trained to not like them? Are you excited for them? Did you get caught up in Hoosier mania, or what is that experience like for you when you see something unlikely happen to the Hoosiers?
Okay, well, first of all, I spent part of my childhood in Terre Haute, Indiana, so I am a massive Larry Bird fan, and I became a very big IU Bobby Knight fan. So my freshman year at Purdue, Dick Vitale introduced me to Bobby Knight at a game, and it was a big Monday Gene Katie, Bobby Knight thing. Now, could I have played for Bobby Knight? I don't know about that. But actually am a big IU fan. But not obviously football, because who before last year was an IU football fan? Absolutely no one. So obviously a really amazing story of what can be done in a short period of time. And I don't watch tons and tons of college football, but I certainly watched the game last night. So it was a good game.
Fernando Mendoza, Signetti. I'm trying to think if you ever have some Signetti-like body language, or you're not stoic.
I am definitely not stoic. That is correct. My college coach came through town last week and was at our game, and she brought a couple people, and they actually asked her if I coached like her. And so she asked me that question, and I said, I'm probably a little more animated than you. And she started laughing. So, yes.
I bet she was tough, yet the pictures I saw of her, I would have enjoyed quizzing her about you. And I bet you could help me land that interview. But she just seemed like a really kind, like when they showed her, I'm trying to think when I saw her, like on TV, or maybe I saw whatever pictures of her. And it is interesting when coaches have been out for a little while. Now, some of them, and I know somebody suggested to you that you could have TV in your future if you wanted it. It's always interesting to me when you have the kindly TV presence person, and then they go back to coaching, and you see them and you're like, dang, I used to think that there was a guy that became a women's coach, Jimmy Dykes.
Oh, yeah.
To me, on TV, he always seemed like this very kind whatever. And from what I could tell, Jimmy Dykes was no treat to play for some of
Well, this
players.
was real interesting. So Jimmy Dykes actually followed my husband at Arkansas. So when my husband, when that went down there, Jeff Long hired Jimmy Dykes. And I remember thinking when I listened to his press conference and he said he was choosing coaching for work-life balance, I thought he has no idea. Like, that's when I knew he didn't really understand, because, I understand as a broadcaster, he was doing a lot of traveling and was outside, of Northwest Arkansas a lot doing games, but there is no work-life balance in P4 coaching, like at P5 at the time, whatever. So no, I mean, that was interesting. That was an outside the box hire.
I would say so.
But you could argue that I was outside the box when it came to the Baylor job. Like, no one was talking about Nicki Collen at Baylor. Like, I wasn't in any tweets. You weren't tweeting about me being on the short list, Like, if this didn't happen, I could have quietly kept doing what I was doing because no one was talking about it.
But you had that long history of coaching in college to go with the WNBA. It is funny because the name we did hear a lot was Molly, and now she's in the conference. So that's kind of interesting, to kind of watch how all that unfolds. But right now, the Bears are number 14 in the country. And does it almost feel like to you that you've already played like 3 different seasons? In some ways.
Yeah, there's 2 parts of that are interesting. One, like when they announced that it was the best record we had through 20 games in my tenure, I had to kind of think back and go, is that true? Which I know that we wouldn't probably post it without it being true. But I think the reality of this was our hardest non-conference schedule we've ever played. And also the way our conference schedule laid out to start with these road trips and to play, teams that are picked in the top 4 or 5 in our league, and an Oklahoma State or an Iowa State on the road early in conference play, kind of makes this a little bit surprising record wise. But it's hard to believe that, you think back to the Duke game and all the things that have happened to Duke since then, and now they're back to rolling. But also we're 2/3 of the way through the regular season. And so that's actually surprising too, that you look back and we've played that much of our season. So really proud of this group. I mean, would I love to play the Texas Tech game again, with Talia Scott healthy? Absolutely. But I'm really proud of, kind of what this team has done, since that game.
Would you like to call out the Big 12 for scheduling or anything?
I would not. I will tell you, I think all coaches, no matter what year it is, you look at your schedule and there's a difficult stretch. It's no different than us playing TCU twice might be more difficult than some other team that we're competing with, that their permanent quote partner is always going to be who it is. And but it's the reality. Like, I always say, like, if I'm going to sell in recruiting that we're going to have a big platform, then I've got to live up to that, and that means that we have the fewest number of Wednesday, Saturday games because we're playing on TV on Sundays and Mondays. And it is what it is, and I certainly think that it's an advantage for us, and we sell it. So I can't complain about it in the midst of the season. And so you play the schedule in front of you. So, and you always have pockets. Last year we had a stretch where we were at Colorado on a Wednesday, home against Iowa State on Saturday, and on TV on Monday, against Kansas State at Kansas State, and so, you're always going to find these pockets that are more difficult. But, I mean, I tend to just complain in private.
I think that's smart.
Like, yeah. By nature, I don't think it changes anything. And so, Yeah. I prefer not to give other people bulletin board material either, you know?
Yeah, I think that's wise. Your bench is really interesting because it's like you have some scorers over there, you have shot blockers, you got one player that one of these games, the Tech game, I guess, was when Ting went off. So it's deep in a lot of ways, but I don't know that you know exactly what you're going to get every night. How has that been for you? Because I feel like you pretty much know what all your starters are going to do, but you don't always know exactly what everybody's going to do off the bench. What's that like as a coach?
That is a fair assessment.
Get a feel almost during
that's a fair
games,
assessment.
Or do you feel like you're getting a better feel for that, for what your bench is going to give you?
I think sometimes it depends on the opponent, and the way they play, what we might get. I mean, certainly I think that Ting, take a couple games out of the equation. She can legit get double figures in every game, and she had a couple plays in the first half against Utah, and then a couple plays early in the fourth when Bella and Bugs were both in foul trouble that she hit shots to keep separation. And so, like, when I think about the Utah game, like, our bench was really good, and if you look at the plus minus, they were all pretty even, and our starters were all plus 20, but we didn't get worse. They kept it even while they were in. And I think the bench, because of Ella's injury, because Nez is just coming back, I'm starting to see, like, what are they capable of doing and how can they impact us, and will they impact us, and how quickly will they impact us? But I think we know we're going to get scoring out of Ting the majority of times. I think we know we're going to get effort. Markayla went through a spell where she was playing really well and consistent minutes early. And then we got into the heart of, hey, we're icing this person, we're trapping this person, and all of a sudden we made it complicated for a freshman, where early in the season it was like, just go play hard, go guard the ball, guard it really hard, and then try to play downhill, and all of a sudden she went through that freshman spell where she was overthinking, and usually when you're thinking, you get it wrong. And so she kind of went through that. And I was actually really proud of the way she came in early in the BYU game. And it wasn't that she made 2 shots. It was just her energy on the glass really impacted us. She grabbed 5 rebounds, and, just the effort. When teams are shooting between 20 and 30% from the field on you a lot of games, and we don't turn teams over a lot, that means there's a lot of defensive rebounds. And so we've got to finish possessions if we're going to get them to have first shot misses, sometimes even second shot misses. And so it's little things like that. So, I think Kyla's rim protection we can count on. I don't think we ever ask her to do a lot of scoring. So you're never going to see the advantage for us offensively necessarily, other than she's one of our best screeners off the bench. And so I like our bench, I think, but you're right. I can't count on, 8 points from Markayla and 6 points from Kyla. And, we've had games where Kayla's gotten us double figures. And so, there's a little bit of mystery, but they're all players I can play. And I thought Kira's minutes were good against Utah. And so, I think we can go to our bench, and we don't have anyone that, potentially could make us better. Will they always make us better? No, but I think they have a chance to do some things when they come in.
Well, I love what you did that one game that comes back since we've last talked, when and I know Tony does a good job and some of your coaches on defense, but that dig y'all had on Crooks when the game was on the line, that comes to mind. I mean, you've had some very interesting games. Let me ask you about Talia. The other night I noticed, she ends up with 6 rebounds and 5 assists, and scoring is what usually gets all the attention. There's probably some burden with her knowing, hey, on this team, I probably need to be a 20-point per game scorer. But like they're also, when she puts up numbers like that, it suggests that unlike some big time scorers, that she's okay deferring at times. Even just within this season, are you seeing her become a more complete player?
I think that's what we're always talking about, that growth factor. When is there a wall in front of you, and when is there a sliver? Because she's pretty good at getting through cracks and finding a way to draw a foul or get the shot up on the rim. But when people build walls in front of her, trusting her teammates to make plays, I mean, I don't think I'm speaking for, obviously, because you asked me the question. I don't think she considers it a burden. I really believe kids like her want to shoot the basketball. I mean, you don't see her. I think about the Kansas game where she had 20 at half, but she had already taken like 18 shots in the first half. Misses don't seem to impact her desire to shoot the next one. And, I think she ended up like 2 for 10 from 3 in that game, and hit 2 threes in a row. And when she got to cooking, it was in the mid range, and playing off the high ball screen. And then Kansas went zone. So then, she got more threes. And so everybody defends her a little bit different. BYU top blocked her off pin downs. And so we put the ball in her hands more in the middle of the floor. And so that's up to me to figure out how people are guarding her and how I can put her in the best position to get shots. The beauty of her is she can make a lot of different type of shots. So you don't just, if they take away the 3, she can play in the mid-range, she can draw a foul. But I certainly think her greatest growth, the difference between, to me, her being an All-American and I think eventually being a first-team All-American, is going to be that consistency in playmaking. I think there's no doubt she is one of the premier scorers in the country. Like, there are very few better that can do what she can do. But I think it comes down to when the turnovers start to decrease, the assists start to go up. She doesn't need to average 8 assists a game, but finding her open teammates, because attention is coming. Like, when you're as good a scorer as she is, attention is coming. 2 and 3 bodies are going to be coming. And when she gets better at finding people, which you see glimpses of, that she's capable, when the game starts to be played that way for her, it'll truly be scary. And I think what people don't understand is this kid played 3 games last year in November, and then didn't play after middle January the year before. So she's really only about 50 games into her college career. Even though she's a junior and she does a lot of things that upper class kids do, her games played says she's still young. And so it'll be scary to see as she begins to, really utilize. She's got a high basketball IQ. She does a good job taking charges. She's good in help side. As she starts to use some of that and makes plays at the defensive end that creates opportunities, like, there's a lot of areas that she can continue to get better in.
Yeah, she may be the best player in the conference, quite honestly. I mean, there are probably players that score more, but yeah, I mean, she's showing a lot. Bella, great player for you over the years, steady, offers you so much. Did you have to kind of almost, and it seems like her scoring and even her shooting starting to kind of round into form a little bit. Did you at one point kind of have to start rebuilding her confidence a little bit? It just seemed like she got in such a rough way. How have you kind of handled that? Because both with Bugs and Bella, as great as they've been for you, have gone through some major shooting slumps this season. What do you do with a player like that who's obviously been a scorer and been successful to kind of help pull them out of those sort of things?
Yeah, I think with Bugs, it was her leaning into being good at what she's good at. And, I think a lot happens with players when they become seniors and there's a sense of urgency and they see their name on draft boards and there's an expectation that you do more than you did, and getting her to understand the whole reason she was on a draft board in the first place is by doing what she does. And that's rebounding, it's making her mid-range shot. It's not trying to do things that, or force things. And, I think she's back to being bugs. Like I was this internal, external, all this pressure, that I think just made her overthink. And, she had never done that in her career. She had always just, I'm going to go rebound. I'm going to get shots in transition. I'm going to do the little things. I'm going to keep the ball moving. The beauty of Bugs has always been she's a ball mover. So getting her to trust that the things that she's good at, she needs to just continue to do, and good things will keep happening for her. And I think she said it in a press conference. She said, I got out of my feelings and got to rolling, and I said, I almost feel like I need to put that on a t-shirt because she just kind of like let go of like these expectations. And on the flip side, I think Bella was pressing too much too. I mean, you've got two players that probably felt like, I've waited my turn to be, Bugs has been a captain. Bella's been all defensive, but going into the season, both of them preseason all conference. And all of a sudden, Talia's taking 20 shots a game and scoring 20 points. And they're trying to figure out how to play with a different player than they've ever played with, which is absolutely true. But I think they've also learned to appreciate that they need her to be that. Our team needs her. And that when they try to do too much themselves, it wasn't successful, quite frankly. And so I think with Bella, it was our conversations more stemmed around, look, you're the head of the snake defensively. You can lead at that end. You're going to get shots. Like let's lean into, get a steal. Because what they're getting ready to do and shooting a gap. It's there were times I thought Bella was taking 4 shots in the first 2 minutes. And if she went 0 for 4, like that was it for the game, as opposed to like letting the game come to her and understanding what are you good at? Baseline rip drive, quick finish, it's the trail 3. It's the, she makes those plays, and those are good enough for us to win because she's so good defensively, and just to kind of lean into like what her role is and be okay with it, because it means tons of minutes. It means tons of respect. Like it doesn't, I always said this when I was coaching in the pros, and I would sign free agents or draft players or bring them into training camp on training camp contracts. And I would always say to them, show me what you can do, not what you can't, and like, I brought you here for a reason. This is why I brought you here. Do this, and you got a chance to make this team. Try to do things you're not as good at to prove to me that you can do those things. It's probably going to get you cut, and so you've seen Bugs get back to where now she's shooting over 50% again. She's averaging she's right at a double. She's back to being Bugs, and Bella, I think is playing. She's just not forcing as much action. I think she's allowing the game to come to her better. She's still going to take open shots. Do I wish she shot it better than she's shooting it overall? Yes. But I think if she takes good shots, we have a good chance to rebound the ball. We have a good chance that she's going to make those shots. But when she's forcing it, it's a little tougher.
That's interesting what you said about the draft boards, because in some sense they could get it in their mind that they're in like a contract year. And
yes,
yeah.
It happens. It happened to Dre Edwards. It happened to Asia Blackwell. It happens to all of them when individual goals collide with team goals, and sometimes they don't feel like they align. And every good player who has those aspirations has those moments, most of them anyway, where the alignment feels off. And, you got to kind of deal with that this is a team sport. And, at the end of the day, like, what do they want? What do they want their senior year to look like? And they've won their whole career. Like, this is what we need to do to win, and I think that's what the point they've come to. And, we didn't deal with that with Jana. Jana was just happy to be back playing. Like, the expectations were different. KJ's just happy to be on the floor because she didn't get on the floor much at Oklahoma. So everyone's situation is different, but usually with seniors who've had a lot of history, there's a sense of urgency that happens at some point if things aren't going, in some kind of an alignment for them or what they feel like is alignment.
Okay, you've got a film session coming up, so I want to be respectful of that. Last thing I had for you, UCF and Houston coming up. Houston made a change, for this season. So a little bit of this is somewhat new. What about these games? Obviously, you on that road trip, it was a really good swing for you. I saw some Baylor fans were out there. I saw Joel Allison, by the way, in stand to see former board of regent, my dad's old college roommate. What about these games though coming up? I know they're big for you. What do you have to kind of key in on these teams?
Yeah, I think both these teams are. It's about paint points. It's about minimizing points in the paint for them. It's keeping them off the foul line. Neither one of these teams is a team that relies a lot on the three ball. They play a lot of players who are mid-range jump shooters, or they play through the post and need the ball and need it to score in the paint. They can create turnovers. Both these teams have good athletes. So there's some similarity. I think UCF's post game is a little bit stronger in terms of their wanting to play through the paint. Knowing Satia, you're going to see a little of the high-low that Coach Mulkey ran here, and a lot of overload, a lot of ball screen stuff, on the wing. But, teams that I think UCF has been competitive in pretty much every game in the Big 12. 2 wins, good win against Colorado, this Sunday. But, just teams that, you just can't take anyone in this league for granted. The league's too good. There are no games that you can show up and beat. Even Houston, has played teams well. They haven't always had the ability to finish. They played one game with 7 players because they had 4 ejected because of a fight against Kansas State. Matthew Mitchell obviously did an amazing job at Kentucky and didn't step away at the time because of lack of success. So it's going to take a minute to rebuild probably there. But as we saw with Indiana, with the portal, you can rebuild a whole lot faster than you could in the past. And so, he's always been a guy that liked to press and wasn't afraid to play small ball. And, so two teams are going to compete really, really hard for coaches that have that mentality that they're going to go out and they're going to defend and they're going to rebound and they're going to get points in the paint.
Great catching up. Look forward to this stretch. And then you have a whole week and then get rolling again. So I look forward to our next conversation. And
so we feeling good about the portal and football? What's the sentiment?
After the Indiana win?
For Baylor, I'm talking about.
Oh, Baylor football. I'm sorry. I
don't care about Indiana.
DJ Lagway being signed, you get a monster. He was once thought to be the best recruit in the country. And that kind of gives you a little, and it was by the way, it was a shaky roller coaster of a signing.
It was interesting.
I might have been in that crowd ready to yank that thing off the table, but now that he's here, everybody will coalesce around him. But this is a haymaker that Dave and his staff are throwing. They know they got a kind of a 1 year prove it or lose it type thing. So go out, get the best players you can get in the portal, see what you can put together. So I'm kind of excited. They got great, exciting receivers. And I mean, what everybody's going to do now is try to be Signetti. Let's go find, so if I was Baylor, I would just take 20 players from James Madison.
Right. Who is our local James Madison though? Who is our
Texas State? Yeah. Well, we get a lot of receivers from there, and so anyway, I'm excited to see what they can do.
I mean, it looks good. What's coming across my Twitter feed and stuff. I haven't asked any insiders. I just, it's kind of amazing how you get a DJ and how all of a sudden there are receivers and tight ends that want to follow. Because if you're a receiver, you're probably only as good as your quarterback.
Yeah. My thought is DJ's a pretty good negotiator, because suddenly once the thing's signed, then his old high school teammates have ended up on this roster.
Right. Hey, there's something to be said. There are great players, and there are great players that are also great recruiters. So that's a special thing for sure.
Yeah, I think we'll have fun. Well, I appreciate it. Have a great
You got
one.
it.
Good luck. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, there she goes. Nicki Collen joining the Matt Mosley show. Kevin, I was trying to be thoughtful there, but she wanted to talk a little Baylor football. Of course, I'm in Indiana mode like you are. And I was like, wait, you want to talk more about Indiana? She wanted to talk about Baylor. My gosh, I just saw on the camera, Kevin, my hair reminded me of a certain former AD here. I may need to get a haircut at some point. Wow, what a day it has been. We are going to do some Campus Confidential, and we got college basketball, we got Indiana, we got portal, we got so much to talk about. And then don't worry, we're going to jump into all this NFL. In fact, we may hear from John Harbaugh, but I think this is a time when we're going to maybe hear from Coach Signetti. We may hear from Fernando Mendoza. We will celebrate, and Kevin will enjoy this, and I think you guys will enjoy this too. I have compiled a list of like the greatest coaching jobs ever, and mostly taking teams kind of like Signetti did. And is this the greatest coaching job, period, of all time that Kurt Signetti just pulled off? We'll discuss moving forward. Campus is next.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collen would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Protect your online. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NordVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
It is the Mosley Show. And thank you, C&B. And well, great to have Nicki, Collen on. And the C&B, the proud sponsors of Baylor women's basketball, and also the presenting sponsor of the Mosley Show. Thank you, Ascension. Thank you, Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James Law Firm. Of course, on Thursday, we'll do our Schmaltz's trivia. And this Patient Direct that has joined up with us, that's a really cool program that allows, the more I read about it, it just sounds like a really cool deal. And it goes along with, well, we have had some great partners in the healthcare industry and Ascension Providence, some of the interviews we've done with them and their doctors. It's been a really cool partnership. So great to have everybody. And of course, Brazos Landing we'll talk about later in the show. In fact, I may just after today, I gotta get ready for tonight's game. And then I'm taking some Baylor students to dinner this evening to talk about sports marketing and the whole S3 program and kind of my career. And my buddy, who's an executive with the Mavericks, is going to be with me. And Kevin, we're going to roll out the red carpet for these students. I think we're picking up the tab, which is fine by me. And Kev, you can drop by too. I don't know. I'd prefer you not bring all 7 of your kids with you, but we'll be taking the students tonight. I'm on the board of advisors or board of directors for the S3 program here at Baylor University through the business school. Kirk and Lane Wakefield have done just such an amazing job with that program. And we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And we're going to take these. They've earned this. They've earned a wonderful fine dining experience. So we're going to take them over to health camp.
Oh, yes. Of course.
Honestly, does a college kid really want to go to no, and I love all the great seafood in town and all the wonderful restaurants, and my goodness, don't I love Brazos Landing. But do they really want to go have like oysters or salmon or somewhere like that? No, they want to go get themselves a cheeseburger. Now, if Schmaltz's was open at that hour, we would just go rolling right into Schmaltz's and we'd load up and everybody would order the Schmaltz and we'd get it on the jalapeno bread because I think they're serving that right now. In fact, I probably will go out because I got some time to kill before our dinner. I'll probably use that time to go out to the Schmaltz's on Valley Mills, order the Schmaltz and get that on that jalapeno cheese bread. And I'll say twice baked, please. I need well done on the bread and like to get it really good and crispy. And that'll be excellent. Appreciate Nicki, Collen on with us today. Good to have Kevin in studio with me. I am in Waco today, Rogue Media Network, right here in the middle of these studios. And it's just good to be here. It's good to be here. And it's good to be in Waco, Texas today. All right. It is time for Campus Confidential. That's where Kevin puts together a good long list of things going on in college football. I would hope that him being an Indiana grad, some of it might involve the Indiana Hoosiers. And I even today on another show I was on, Kev, I did the Hoosiers on the third Who.
You missed
Do
one.
you got to do 3 Who's?
3 Who's and then a Hoosier. Yeah.
Hoosiers.
Yeah. That was sort of like Liam Cohen doing Duval at his press conference. But he's getting there. He's getting better.
Duval? I don't know. Yeah, he did some weird stuff there. All right. It is time for Campus Confidential. You see it on the screen. Kev, what do you have for us today? We've got this needs to be, Kev, this needs to be really good. Okay. I hope you've prepared.
All right. Well, we'll see. So Duke sued Darian Menta now for breaking his NIL contract, and the judge ruled they denied Duke's request to keep Mensah from the portal. Now, does it trouble you that now we have universities suing students?
Well, I mean, it's sort of what contracts are for. I mean, if they're not binding, he signed a 2-year, whatever it was, $7 or $8 million contract. I mean, it was the threat of the Big Ten and Washington coming after that quarterback that caused him to change his mind and come running right back to campus. And because they didn't really have any other better option, gosh, I'm glad the Lagway family didn't find out about that. Didn't go rolling in there. But Jed Fish brought him back. I think this is what needs to happen. I wish Baylor had sued Rob Wright. I mean, that was a contract. Rob Wright signed for $1 million. BYU came along, said, "Hey, here's $3 million," and Rob said, "I'll see you later, Baylor." And I don't know. I mean, these contracts have to mean something. So if you try to hold somebody to a contract and you got to sue them to enforce it. Now, a lot of these things, some people say contracts are meant to be broken. I don't like that. I don't like that attitude, and I don't approach signing things like that. But, I got no problem with them suing Mensa. If he truly signed a contract that I'm going to play here for 2 years and I'm going to make $4 million or $7 or $8 million, then hold him to it. I'm good with it.
I guess it could be kind of the other direction. I mean, schools do have to pay their big paid college coaches when they dismiss them, right? And so I guess this is just the other side of that, just student-wise, right?
Well, yeah, sometimes it really depends on whether they fire them for cause. And, of course, there's the whole buyouts that are in some of these contracts. I think you're going to see more and more in these big money contracts, like the one DJ Lagway probably signed with Baylor. There's going to be a buyout clause in there. There's going to be some penalty if you up and leave. Now, again, we don't know because Baylor's a private school. Now, the truth is, and I forgot to call him back today, we're going to have one of DJ's reps on. And one of the first things I'll ask him, Justin is his name, nice guy. He was at the CFP National Championship game. I'm sure he's traveling today. A lot of the agents, and then I know the A&M coaching staff, a lot of coaching staffs watch this show. So I'll ask the question, because most agents and reps actually want it out there how much they got paid, because then that makes players want to use them if they got their people paid. So I will ask Justin, Justin, tell me about DJ's financial package. And we'll try to get to the bottom of that. My guess is $1.5 to $2 million as we come to you live from many stories up in the Alico building. And I can hear the train in the distance, downtown Waco. And I could even, if I went out the window right now, I could see that train coming by. I love being here. In fact, Kevin, this is probably not what you want to hear, but I've decided to do the show daily. If you can fix the echo in my ear, I am going to do the show daily from Waco, from this studio. And I will drive down from Dallas listen to that train. God, don't you love that? My father, when he was a college athlete at Baylor, played defensive tackle here for the Bears. In the off season, you had to have jobs. There wasn't NIL money around, and he worked for the railroad. And he was a brakeman, and then he was the person who would be in the caboose, and he did it all. But that was back in the time, Kevin, when you could make a great career out of working for the railroad. Now, he decided to go to law school and become a lawyer, but I still think there was part of him that always wanted to work for Union Pacific or one of those great old railroad companies. Kev, where were we? It is Campus Confidential. Yeah. What else do you have for us? Right, where'd you go?
Where does this Indiana team rank in the greatest teams in college football all time?
I don't know. This shirt does not breathe very well.
Obviously, there is such a thing as recency bias, but we don't want to give us some perspective here on where this Indiana team ranks, because let's be honest, they did things this season that have never been done before. Some of those are short-term things, like they were the first team with a bye in the college football playoff to get a win. But others of these, the first 16 win teams since 18, the first year of football with Yale, right?
Yeah,
So,
Bulldogs had a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there are those elements that would lend you to say this is the best team ever, but
I
give us some perspective.
Well, thank you. I intend to. This offense, which was great, and this quarterback who is great, I can't quite put this in the class of and by the way, you're acting like no other team has gone undefeated. I mean, LSU didn't lose that year in 2019 when they were incredible. They just didn't play this many games, right?
Well,
okay.
What I mentioned the other day, this is one of now 2 colleges that have gone undefeated in both football and men's college basketball.
Yeah, and you have to go. Yeah,
and Indiana both undefeated in both of those sports. So
Lord knows I don't remember UCLA football doing that.
It was a while ago. Yeah, long time.
That just sounds made up to me.
Well, I looked it up.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying, me knowing their program, that seemed. I mean, Terry Donahue was coaching and Aikman was there. They were pretty good. I will tell you coming up some of the greatest coaching jobs ever. But in terms of best team,
it was,
from a
54.
Okay. I cannot. This is an unbelievable team. That's why I hate even trying to put anybody ahead of them. But I would, if they matched up with the LSU team of 2019, I'd probably still take the LSU team. It's a mythical thing. Nobody will ever know. I will say, I mean, some of these Saban teams, I was trying to think of the best Saban team. 2016, they were great, but I think that's when they ran into Deshaun Watson and Clemson. Those Clemson teams were unreal. I mean, Dabo's won a couple. Saban's won, 7 of them or something insane like that. So I have a hard time with this. I think that there had to be some incredible Bear Bryant teams. Saw one of them when I was a kid, when I was like 7 years old, 1980 Alabama team. They crushed Baylor in the Cotton Bowl, had E.J. Jr. They were unreal. So, yeah, I just can't really speak to those teams. I would say that I'm trying to think of the best teams from the 80s. Darrell Royal had some. So if you really want to get down in the weeds, I would say some of Darrell Royal. Here's what I would say. Because you can't compare these teams really. But Bud Wilkinson and OU felt like 3 or 4 seasons without losing. Like they were unbelievable. So I would say Bud Wilkinson and then Barry Switzer's Sooners. There would be candidates from several of those teams. You'd have to go back to Jack Mildren and I mean just some of the old school Sooners, and then you get to the great Selman brothers and all that. But yeah, but the Indiana team, and right now we're captured in the moment. One of the greatest, and this was one of the greatest runs. And I don't even know. To me, I'm happy to do that exercise with you. But the more interesting angle to this is how they went from nothing to something, and now something pretty incredible. And this coach is like, there's nothing really to compare it to. I keep coming back to, and you got to do this as a Baylor person. And somebody said, by the way, some college basketball person said last night, the best comparison they can have in college basketball is Scott Drew. And Scott Drew took, they had the scandal. They had a player murdered. It was awful. And he took a team from the ashes and he turned it into a superpower. Now, sadly, Kevin, we sit here tonight and former Baylor assistant and former Baylor player Grant McCaslin is riding into town, and this feels like it could get ugly, and the Baylor program's in a bad spot. But I think that's interesting to bring up, Scott, in that. It's just hard. I can't think of any.
Don Haskins and what he did, but that's maybe more of a global college basketball thing with what he did with Texas Western. But what he did.
No, but what he did was more like civil rights. That involved.
But he also did take a nothing program to win a championship as well. So you would kind of have to see what.
But he did the same thing. He did the same thing in 1965 or whatever that was. That University of Houston was doing with Bill Yeoman. They integrated way before other schools were wanting to do that. And of course, Baylor didn't do it until the late 60s. University of Texas waited until 1970, and Yeoman, and then whoever was coaching at Michigan State back in the day was doing it before them. So that brings up a whole nother layer of things. But in terms of taking a moribund, what's that word? I like that word, moribund. It's spelled like M-O-R-I-B-U-N-D. Taking a moribund, or do you say moribund, program, and just in a 2-year span, like it took Drew at least 5 to 7 years to get that Baylor program rolling. This dude did it in 2. He shows up, replaces a guy who went 3-9, walks into a gym and starts saying everybody sucks. Ohio State sucks. Michigan sucks. Purdue sucks. Everybody's like, what in the world? Has this guy lost his mind? Then he shows up at the signing day news conference and goes, but for a while we couldn't even get Aranda to do one. Thank God Brent Ingram and others have finally convinced Dave that he needs to do some of this media. And Kurt showed up and he goes, I win. Google me. And it went from a meme almost mocking him to signifying the beginning of something wonderful and amazing. Send that in. That's
a good one. Yeah.
Send that little deal in. Yesterday I didn't even do one. Who's doing this? But anyway, I don't.
So, because the other side of this is the doubters will still be doubters and say, well, Ohio State wasn't good. Oregon wasn't nearly as good as they were or could have been, should have been. Alabama had an off year. And they ended up in the national championship against the 10 seed.
You as an Indiana guy, anybody who tries to bring any of that up with you, you have my permission to just either fly the bird, which I would not do, and you're not really that kind of person either, but you have that capability. And the thing is, just don't get dragged into dumb stuff like that, because it's like Camelot. It's like you just need to experience this nirvana. Like I sometimes will get dragged into this deal where it's like, who is the best basketball team of this century? And they'll have Baylor down a ways. And Baylor, they tried to make that Gonzaga team as the best team ever. Baylor beat their brakes off. How is Baylor then not considered one of the best teams of the century? But then I start having that argument. I'm like, why do I care? Like, I got to be there and watch my alma mater win a national title. And tonight, if Texas Tech runs us out of the gym, I'll still have 2021. I'll still have that national title. And I'll still, to my dying day, thank Scott Drew and his whole staff and everybody for giving me that experience. And there's another thing. I've never told the story on air. I desperately needed, I can't remember if it was from my wife or who it was, and they weren't giving out extra tickets because of the COVID, and I couldn't cover it for some reason because I hadn't gone to enough. I had that bad accident, and Baylor could only give out certain amount of credentials, and I desperately needed. And fortunately, I found the tickets I needed, But can I say one thing that happened? And one of the reasons I'll always love this guy, even though he's struggling right now at Kansas State. Jerome Tang, out of the blue, calls me up one day and he goes, Mosley, however many you need to the Final Four, I got you. Now that is a good friend. That's pretty dang cool. That just popped into my head while we were talking about Baylor and national titles. You never know what nuggets you might find out on the Mosley Show. For all I know, it could be 4 p.m. right now because Kevin and I are just letting it fly today. And I've shed I had that great jacket I was going to have on screen.
It's just so,
and it's
so
warm, and
in here.
I know. And this is a stage 3 clinger of a shirt. This is kind of grabbing me where I don't need to be grabbed.
Before you get to
what's on your mind?
Best coaching jobs, which you've kind of touched on, before we get to that, we just ended the national championship game. So it's time to look at the odds for next year. Okay?
Odds for
the 2027 national championship odds.
Yeah, but I like to call it, it's going to happen, it's 26 season.
Yes.
So let's call it.
But this year, 26 championship. So, oh man.
No, we talked. This is the 25.
No, but it's called the 2026.
Okay, that's fine. I like to call it in the NFL. We call it. It was the 2025, even though the Super Bowl's played in the new year. Okay, that's fine. Do you have it for me? Do you have a graphic?
I don't have a graphic.
Oh, Kev.
I'm sorry.
When are you going to give me some Mendoza? Do you have any Fernando or Signetti for me?
No.
God,
we're a different day in the studio.
You're just lucky to even get the lights on.
Yes. Okay. The best odds plus 600 for Ohio State. Plus 700 for Texas, Notre Dame, and Oregon. Plus 800 for IU. Plus 900 for Georgia. Plus 1,500 Alabama, LSU, A&M, and Tech. And plus 2,000 Miami. Anybody you feel like is just in the wrong spot there?
I'd get on that Miami deal. I like that. Now they're going to Bain and Messidor, but I know, but they'll have somebody.
Yeah.
Who'd they bring in? I mean, they all bring in. I mean, by the time Indiana will be like, Hoover's the best quarterback ever, and I'll be like, he couldn't beat Baylor, 2 seasons ago. Yeah, and Hoover will probably put up huge numbers. If anything, that's a little disrespectful to Signetti. The great Signetti has earned being at the top of those odds. And, of course, University of Texas is up there. Deliver me. By the time we arrive next year, we'll have forgotten that, that Arch basically was crawling through the season, throughout much of the early season, looked like he couldn't perform at all. And we'll get to the season and go, this guy's going to be like the number 1 pick in the draft. Why do we do this? Why do we not do? What's Baylor's odds? Do you have them? Can you go that far?
I just got the top 10 or so there.
Just remember what I told you the other day. DJ goes back to pass, and there's something about him. DJ and I probably weigh about the same. We're built a little differently. DJ goes back, and then it's just I saw him do it at A&M. I saw him in person. It's simple. It's not the whole like most quarterbacks, and you've got to go through all the mechanics. It's like here, boom, 30, 40 yards down the field, boom. Now, again, could go to the other team. But, we're going to enjoy this. Let's enjoy the DJ Lagway. Didn't you like that Nicki Collen was just kind of like, hey, I was trying to, get her on to her film session, and she was like, what about this football? Yeah. You could tell I didn't hear what she said. I started talking about Indiana football again. She was like, I don't care about Indiana. She grew up a huge IU fan, but it sounds like she was a big hoops IU fan, right? Didn't care anything about football. Who was the greatest coach at Indiana before Signetti? Would it have been that Mallory or whatever his name was, or wasn't Corso?
Corso was the only one that got them somewhere into a bowl game. So
who got them? Had they played in a Rose Bowl at some point?
No, it was the Holiday Bowl.
Indiana had never been
Mhm.
to the Rose Bowl
Nope.
in all those years.
Nope. I know. This is why it's such a big deal for us.
It's an amazing. I still almost have to remind myself, and I'll tell you who climbed on your bandwagon. He's probably watching today. And by the way, if you're watching on Twitter, did you get us on Twitter today? We generally have a pretty large Twitter audience. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go sign up for the YouTube page, and then you can send us little comments. But Scotty jumped on your Indiana bandwagon huge this year. I'm sure you're fine with people jumping on there.
I
talked
was the one throwing him over.
Derek Smith grew up in Indiana, and he's got a ton of high school buddies who went to Indiana. And I talked to him today. He was very excited. He's the voice of Baylor women's basketball, as well as the voice of other things. He does baseball.
Yeah. And he does the PA for football as well.
I just wish I could work.
He's Mr. Third Down.
You know who I've missed working with, who was a good friend of mine for years? And still is a friend, but I just haven't been working with him recently because I left the radio. J-Mo. I miss him. I wish there was a way he and I could reunite in some meaningful way, But, I don't know. We probably don't have the budget for that. It is the Mosley Show, and that was Campus Confidential. We now have, good. Timing's fine. It's 2:30, and we got NFL stuff happening. We got coaches, and then I'm going to share with you, without further ado, and I consulted some people on this, the greatest coaching jobs in the history of sports, not just football, not just college football. By the way, I think one guy did it here, and unfortunately his time ended in scandal. One guy did it right here in Waco, Texas, of all places. It's the Mosley Show, and it's next.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. Don't buy from social media ads unless the ad is from a verified company. When you click those ads, you open yourself up to fraud. If it seems too good to be true, it almost always is.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Everybody at Equalife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. With Ease US, make studio-quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional-grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Golf Partner, overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
It is the Mosley Show into the 2 o'clock hour, and we are celebrating. I don't know if I'm celebrating. I mean, I'm happy that they won, and I think it's a pretty unbelievable story. I root for great stories, and the Indiana Hoosiers are a great story. I also root for my friends, things to happen for my friends. Sometimes people root against their friends, which is always odd. Now, I understand that if the friend is like crazy obnoxious about something, maybe you root against them, but I would never do that with Kevin Hall, our producer. And today he is celebrating his alma mater, the Indiana Hoosiers, win a national title in football. And quite honestly,
Hoosiers?
That's not bad. I think it's a great day for schools like Baylor. I mean, because it reinforces this idea of, Baylor had it happen under Bryles, where they literally became a top 5 or 10 team in the country and were vying for spots in the playoff on an annual basis, and were pretty much going to be unstoppable in 2015. And unfortunately, Seth Russell got hurt, and then Stidham got hurt after him. And Stidham, by the way, is about to start in the AFC title game. And we'll do more on that as the week unfolds. Kevin, we might want to play. I just found it the other night, and I republished it on Twitter, my interview with Jarrett Stidham from earlier this season. And, of course, he didn't know. And somebody made the funny comment when they were somebody was thinking about signing Stidham. And somebody said, if you want to make sure your starter never gets hurt, bring in Stidham.
Yeah.
Stidham is a guy who he's been a backup. He's been a very competent backup. He plays beautifully in the preseason, and he never gets any snaps because whoever he's played behind doesn't seem to get hurt until now. And Bo Nix is hurt. He's got that ankle injury, and Stidham goes in. And I think right now, as sad as it is for maybe Broncos fans, Sean Payton has not given up. Davis Webb, his offensive coordinator, they have not given up the ghost. His offensive coordinator / quarterback coach. when you have Sean Payton, you don't truly have an OC. You have somebody kind of in name only. But I find that to be I am not handing that game to the Patriots like some. Drake May did not play that great against the Texans. The Texans, C.J. Stroud played one of the worst games quarterbacks ever played in the playoffs. And that's saying something. I watched TJ somebody not Davis Mills, but there was somebody years ago that started a playoff game for the Texans, and it was not good. His name was something along the lines of TJ Yates or something. Does that sound like a name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have these names stuck in my memory somewhere, and it was not good for the old Houston Texans. Now, today, John Harbaugh was officially announced as the New York Giants head coach. This man is you have an organization that has gotten serious about football again for the first time since Tom Coughlin was there. And they started hiring people like Ben McWilliams and Dayball and Clark Judge and just random people. Hey, who's that guy that coached for Belichick and did his special teams? Oh, Clark Judge. Oh, yeah. What about him? Is he good? Oh, sure, Maras. You can probably get him for a discount. I bet he'd come there and coach on the cheap. Same for Jason Garrett. He's trying to get back. I bet he'd call your offensive plays for you. It's been a disaster since Coughlin was there. Today, they brought back credibility, and they brought back an interesting guy. John Mara's brother. John Mara's been battling cancer. God love him. I got a buddy right now fighting cancer and just got diagnosed with leukemia. And he's a huge Baylor Bear, and he ran track for Baylor. And I don't know if I'm broadcasting names quite yet. So but everybody's praying for him. So in the coming days, I will give his name. But Chris Mara, John Mara's brother, has stepped forward and is taking, it's always odd when you've known the owner and you've known kind of who is in that role for a major NFC East team, and then suddenly the brother comes in. Like, we knew Al Davis forever, and then we saw his weirdo son come in. And there they were at the national title game last night, getting ready. Poor Fernando. Mm-hmm. You're going to go from playing for maybe one of the greatest college coaches ever to playing for whoever the Raiders hire, and then reporting to the owner, Mark Davis, who is one of the strangest individuals I've ever met. I spent a little time with him one time. It's about all I need. It's about all I need to tell you that a man that committed to the Prince Valiant haircut, and I'm not even trying to say that I'm sitting here with the greatest haircut around, but that man committed to one of those sort of Little Lord Fauntleroy type haircuts, the Prince Valiant haircut. It's a bad look. It's a bad look for a grown man. And he's also
kind of like a friar.
It just that's where that Prince Valiant comes from. Yeah. From that old, something kind of a weird look like that.
Bald spot in the middle, and there you go. Good.
He's just a man that creeps people out, and he spends most of his day not in his office, but at a P.F. Chang's near where they practice. That's what he used to do when the Raiders were in Oakland or wherever they moved around to. Before they went to Las Vegas, all he did was hang out at a P.F. Chang's where he made all his moves. Didn't make a lot of moves. You do not want that man making a lot of decisions. The Raiders have a GM, but the president is Tom Brady, and he's seemingly making the most moves for the Raiders while being the lead voice for Fox. Make it make sense. Just embarrassing. You brought it up. You brought it up to me, Kevin, recently. Anyway, do you have that, John? Okay, I want to give everybody a taste of what Harbaugh sounds like now that he has official announcement came today. They had the big introductory news conference. Everybody showed up for this. All the team employees, all the media, the ownership, everybody. I think they snuck a few fans in there. This is some of what John Harbaugh had to say as he was announced. And again, a dark day for the Dallas Cowboys, because what is on display now is extreme competence. And for years, it's been incompetent football people running the Giants, especially at the title of head coach. Now they have a real head coach. And, oh, by the way, he reports to the Mara family, and he does not report to that GM. Let's listen in from today. Here is John Harbaugh in his first news conference.
Have to have guys that love football. I mean, you just have to. It's football. What are we here for? You know, what do we do? What is this building for? It's for football. You know, this is a football team, and we need guys that love everything about football. They love the games. They love the practices. They love the weightlifting. They love the meetings. They love the dining hall. You know, they love every part of football, man. And if you love football, guys, if you love football, you're going to want to be here. You're going to want to drive in that parking lot every single day. You're going to want to walk through those doors. You want to walk up in those halls. You're going to want to get in front of that tape and watch tape every single day because you're going to be around a bunch of guys that love what you love. They love football because that's what we're going to be doing, football, all the time, every day.
We need a football counter on that video. How many times did he say football there? Phew.
You know, if you're playing a drinking game on that deal, you'd let it get away from you pretty quickly. And there's a big breaking news story from earlier with Darian Mensah. We'll get back into that. But they got a real head coach there. And so you got Sirianni, who's always at war with the city, and he hates the fans, even though he's won a lot, even though he's been to Super Bowls, and he's not far removed from winning a Super Bowl. The defending champs have been failed. Like F-E-L-L-E-D,
Yeah.
what I wanted there. And so right now, sadly, Schotty, as much as we like him, Schotty has been thrown down to the fourth best coach in the NFC East. It's rough. It's rough where the Cowboys are right now. And they got a lot of work on defense. They got draft picks. They got the number 12 pick. They got the 20th pick. They got a lot going on. And they're running people out of that building as we speak. Somebody over there that was in charge of film, they ran out of the building here recently. They've got people on the way, though, help on the way. They have interviewed 9 defensive coordinators. The only problem is other teams are needing defensive coordinators as well. And even if Brian Flores doesn't get one of these head coaching jobs, and he's already interviewed for Pittsburgh, and Minnesota's waiting for him, come on back. Come back into our waiting arms, Brian Flores. It would be incredible for the Cowboys. Cowboys still have Jim Leonard, former Wisconsin defensive coordinator. He's been the associate head coach for the assistant head coach for the Broncos. Broncos are a little busy this weekend, but he remains in play. Ulbrich out because Ulbrich was retained with the Atlanta Falcons. Kevin Stefanski there. And then the latest, and this is kind of a big boy hire, especially for this organization. The Titans hired somebody. Kevin, I'm going to pay for your dinner soon if you can name me the Titans head coach for the last year and a half.
It's Brian Callahan.
You just won a free dinner. He did it. He did it, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Callahan. Honestly, it reminds me of like Tommy Boy. Was there a Callahan and Son, or was there a Callahan involved in that?
I believe
Brian Callahan he left such a little mark on the NFL that I think of a movie and I cannot picture the man. Kevin, could you find me a picture of Brian Callahan? He was around the NFL for a year and a half, and I still don't have a picture of the man in my head. But they've gone and they've made a real hire. The great Robert Saleh is the new coach of the Tennessee Titans. You know, that's a man who was wronged by the Jets, by Woody Johnson, and the embarrassment of the Jets, the stink. I wish he had fired the guy that the old Lions defensive coordinator. I wish he had fired him because they could have brought him, and that's the old Aggies player. They could have Aaron Glenn. They could have brought him to the Cowboys. I would have loved to have him as defensive coordinator.
There you go. There's your Brian.
Can you zero in on him a little more? I do not know this man.
He's giving you the you don't know who I am kind of look.
I don't feel like he wears a T-shirt under the The pullover, that's a weird deal. You don't wear the pullover with nothing under it. Either that or it was cold that day and his pecs are coming right through the pullover. I do not know this man. This man was an NFL head coach. It kind of reminds me of people like Pettin. There was somebody named Coach Pettin for the Jags. Mike Pettin. We hardly knew ye. Shermer was a quick one, by the way. Shermer even coached, I think, the Giants at one point. That lasted like a month. Man, they churned through coaches. But the Giants went out and got themselves a real head coach. Can you find a picture, Kevin, since I'm having fun with this, of Chris Mara? I want to show people what the guy that's he's kind of suddenly showing up at these news conferences, and he's sitting up there at the front, and he's got the big boy spot, and he's the Mara. He's the lesser-known Mara, but John Mara, who we love and we hope beats cancer, is kind of stepped away just a little bit. And Chris Mara, a man that was always desperate for the spotlight, he always wanted to be the GM. And years ago, Chris Mara wanted to be the GM for the New York Giants. And they said, sorry, Chris, we're going to hire Jerry Reese. His own brother wouldn't hire him. You know who told him not to hire him? Not his brother. It was Tish. Okay, this is an older picture of him because now he's bald. Now he's completely bald. That is him, though. That is the Mara brother. That is now, this man this is a creepy man.
Yeah.
My hair right now does not. I mean, I may have a bit of a creepy factor myself, but this man is a creep. But now with the no hair look, he is not a creepy man. He's a fairly normal looking Mara who has shown up and is running that organization. I'm telling you, this is the biggest. It's not about the Cowboys defense or who they sign defensive coordinator or who they bring in. I mean, it's a huge draft. But the biggest problem for the Dallas Cowboys is that they've lost 2 automatic wins a year. They got a man who says football a lot, and he looks. Put another picture up there again of Harbaugh. I mean, it's sickening to realize that you had 2 free wins every year, and now you've been trumped. Now you have freaking John Harbaugh in your division. You talk about letting a wolf in the hen house or whatever animal you let in there. They have let Big Bad Wolf right in there, and mixing all sorts of metaphors. We got Little Red Riding Hood. We got all kinds of stuff. We got the wolves that blew the house down. We got lots of stuff, those 3 little piggies. But I want to see a picture of John Harbaugh because this man will haunt the Dallas Cowboys. For years, they could count on. You go, well, how did McCarthy, how did he go 3 straight 12-win seasons? Because he played a bad Commanders team, because he played a bad Giants team, because the Eagles between Super Bowls are never that good. Dang, I don't know why I'm getting worked up at the end of the show. We've had a fun show. We've talked about Signetti.
We still got to get to your coaches.
Oh, my gosh. Do we need to take a break, or can I just go straight into it?
Go.
How much time do I have?
You got
3 minutes. You've given me 3 minutes. Let's do the landing while we're doing this.
All right.
Thank you, CNB. Thank you, CNB. And I'll be over at the landing. If you're watching Lindsay's, get the table ready. Get the BLTs ready. I'm going to take the kids to cheeseburger night at health camp, but I'm bringing myself over to the New Orleans bar, and I'm going to order no alcohol, but I will have a BLT or a shrimp po' boy. God, did that sound good?
There you go.
Do you eat seafood? I knew you didn't.
I do.
There's just something about you that
the
suggested.
The shrimp is a no-go.
There's something about you suggested you were going to say no. Okay, since I did the research. There's my camera. Extensive research. I believe, here is my theory. So I decided to look. And by the way, congrats to Miami. Ruben Bain, Messidor, Carson Beck. I know he threw a bad interception. Kid did not run the greatest route, by the way. 0 for them. Did not run a great route. And kudos to Charlie B. What's the kid's name? Becker? Charlie Becker for Indiana. That kid was just kind of this early this season, he's on the roster. Like, Charlie, go run. Can you be the gunner? Hey, Charlie, we're up big. Get in there, run some routes. And then all of a sudden, Charlie Becker, Big Ten championship game, he's suddenly like a monster. This guy showed up, and last night when they needed him, and there was not bad coverage, and they kept going back shoulder. And then you got Kirk Herbstreit. That wasn't even a back shoulder. It was meant to be. It was meant to be, but the kid came back, and he made a play on the ball. Good for Charlie Becker. The reason I say Charlie B is because Gus Johnson in that Big Ten game kept saying, Charlie B from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
All right. I love all this, man. I see, you can see what Scotty's saying now, Kev. Being in studio gives me energy. Being around you on a day your team won it all. Okay, here are some of the greatest turnarounds and coaching jobs ever. In some cases, these people took bad teams and they quickly got them going. And some of these names will be like, God, I forgot about that. Gary Barnett at Northwestern. You go, what? What? Well, they were horrible. They were kind of like Indiana for a lot of years, and that sucker took them to the Rose Bowl twice. He won 2 Big Ten championships at freaking Northwestern. Now, he went to Colorado and burned out and got involved in some scandal. But Gary Barnett did a little bit like what Signetti did. He did something at a place where they never won. See, I thought you'd like that. Big Ten. There's a Big Ten one.
I remember that.
Howard Schnellenberger. There was a time when the U was not the U. Nobody went around doing the U. Nobody cared. Okay, this is pre-Jimmy. This is pre-Erickson. This is pre-Butch. This is pre-Mario. This is actually Mario. Mario went to Miami right as Jimmy was coming to Dallas.
Teams, yeah.
Well, yeah, Mario was like 88, so he might have been a freshman when Jimmy was still there. Anyway, okay, Schnellenberger goes to Miami. They're horrible. Miami had been horrible for a good long while. They'd had like 2 or 3 winning seasons in 10 or 15 years. Peach Bowl, and then in his 5th season, Schnellenberger wins a national title. All right, and here are the quarterbacks he brought in there: Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, Vinny. Now, Vinny blossomed under Jimmy, who came after Schnellenberger, but dadgummit, Schnellenberger went to a program that was down and did something incredible. Some people would say Belichick because, yeah, they weren't great. They'd had some success. They'd been to the Super Bowl in '85, but it had been a long time. And then, of course, he lit it on fire. And he did it with Bledsoe getting hurt, and he brought Brady in, and he took him to the dang Super Bowl. So we at least need to mention him. But it's so different. I don't even like bringing that up. One other that I looked up that did that, and the Ringer had a few of these that helped me on this. Jimmy Leland, the great baseball manager, smoked. Jim smoked all the time. Some people remember him with the Pirates and Barry Bonds. Some people remember him with the coaching job he did with the Tigers. He had a good run with the Tigers, but he arrives with the Marlins. They'd only been in existence for like 5 years. They really pretty much suck. They had, tried to give him some decent players. They had tried to reach into free agency. He put some weird Renteria, had a huge hit in that World Series. He put a rookie out there, and that rookie ended up getting the MVP of that World Series. Jimmy Leland, the managing job he did with the Marlins in 1997, that was incredible. It's worth mentioning. One other before we have to let you go. Joe Madden did an incredible job when he got to the Cubs. They were in a bad way, and within like a season or two, he gets them to the playoffs within his 2nd season. 3rd season, they win like 108 games, win a World Series. Madden did a great job in baseball. This was a fun one. I hadn't even thought about this one until I was doing the research. Lenny Wilkins takes over like 1977, the 5-17 Sonics. They're dead on a ride. DOA, 5-17. They're not going anywhere that season. They then the rest of the season go like 41-18 or something, and they win a title. Lenny Wilkens takes the Sonics to a title. Now, somebody named Larry Bird and somebody named Magic Johnson show up in right around 79, 80, and so it was kind of curtains for a lot of those teams. But Lenny Wilkens from a nothing team, and if you look back at the Sonics of 1977, you go, well, they must have had some like really good players, right? Not great, but boy, he put them together, coached them up, and then Lenny Wilkens went on to become not only a great player, he was a player, but he was a player coach, but he went on to become one of the greatest coaches in NBA history. All right, there are a few of the greatest coaching jobs, not just to, I'm not bringing up Saban and all these kinds of things because although now that I think about it, I mean, Saban did not show up at Bama with Bama on fire. In fact, in his first year, they lost to somebody horrific. And Saban only went on to become the greatest coach in college football history, based somewhat with Michigan State and LSU, what he'd done before, but obviously mostly at Alabama. And I would say, God, the job freaking Urban did at both Florida and Ohio State. I'm sorry, he may be the sleaziest guy around, but if you're trying to come up with the top 5 greatest college coaches of all time and Urban's not mentioned, you're probably doing it the wrong way. All right, there you go, Kev.
Love it.
Kev, congrats. Do you have any Hoosiers music we can send ourselves out on today? Do we have the fight song, or do we have the Hoosiers music? Goodness gracious. You don't have to do that. Let's do the theme. Let's do the, if you've got the fight song, let's play ourselves out with.
You know what? I'm just going to hit it straight away off the phone into the mic. You ready?
Okay, here we go. That's fine. Turn your mic up. Yeah. Okay. There. That's it. Sing it. Let's hear you sing the words.
This is just the fight. This isn't the Indian or Indian. So.
Okay. The other one I loved last night was that whole crowd singing Mellencamp.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And he was at that game. Mellencamp was there.
He has his own little shack on top of Memorial Stadium.
Yeah. Even when they were bad, right? Yeah. John would come. But what was the famous song they were singing last night? His
Small Town? Is that
No. Something Don't Die. It's a very famous Mellencamp song. It was awesome. The entire fan base, everybody was singing it together. And the only other okay, I love what the Red Sox do with the song they sing, obviously at games in the 7th inning or whatever inning they sing that. But I always, when I was growing up, and I would go to University of Arkansas games, when they sing, hey, hey, baby, I want to know, will you be my girl? Like the entire Arkansas fan base singing that old, 60s song together. Awesome. But that John Mellencamp song last night was incredible. Congrats, Kev.
Excited. I may never take this hat off again.
Come see me tonight. I'm going to be over at Health Camp. Now, right now, I'll probably run over to the Brazos Landing. We love them. We love the Lindsay family. Love being around them and love their food and drinks right over there at the Brazos Landing. Been a fun show. We're in studio today. Tomorrow, we'll be back in our normal areas. And I think I've got a big guest lined up, but nothing's coming to mind. So I'll let you know overnight. And we'll be reacting to Baylor versus Tech. Oh, yeah, I might talk to Grant McCaslin tonight. So we'll just see how all that works out. Scott Drew joins us, Kevin, unless I haven't told you this, on Thursday.
All right.
Okay, and I'll be taping that, so I'll need some help as always. It is the Mosley Show. For Kevin Hoosier Hall, it's Matt Mosley. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
It's time to start something new at Allen Samuels. Drive in with huge savings on all of our Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. From a trail-conquering Jeep Grand Cherokee, towing in style with a Ram Heavy Duty, or cruising the city in a sporty and luxurious Ram 1500, we've got the perfect ride for you. Stop by Allen Samuels in Waco, where we make car buying easy.
Come by, let's be friends.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.